I don't know. Who seems approachable? Pick one. Should I go to the other side of the street? There's more people over there. Look at all these people. Yeah. Excuse me. Are you guys allowed to take that off to talk, or is it like?
I'm talking. Well, I can talk with it on.
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
All right. I'm not media really. I'm just trying to start a vlog. But we had the idea of coming down here and talking to someone since someone I heard about this or whatever. So, first of all, is there like a specific event that spurred the protest?
It's been Donald Trump's attack on the press mainly.
Yeah.
Telling certain news organizations that they can't attend the White House.
Right.
The
I
White
heard about
House
that.
is not the occupant's property.
Right.
It's the public's house. And it's there for all of us. And to start excluding people from a house that's there for all of us tends to spur kind of action like this. People take free speech seriously and freedom of the press seriously. So
I agree, and I don't support. I want to say right off, so you don't get me wrong. I don't support what Trump did or Spencer.
Because we
or
are trying to have kind of an organized protest, though. I'm just going to give you this. It explains what we're doing.
All right.
And that'll explain to you because we're trying to.
Oh, I see. Right. I have a few questions that
There's
I was wondering.
somebody around here that'll be glad to answer. I think he doesn't have tape on.
All right.
Do you know why we're here?
You don't have any tape on.
That's right. I have a big mess.
First of all, I'm Jim. Nice to meet you. I'm not a media person. I'm
Are
just
you an FBI agent?
a vlog maybe. I'm trying to start a vlog. That's it.
Okay.
And I don't even have one yet.
Okay.
Just so you know who you're talking to. You're not going to get a huge amount of free press probably, but
Okay.
I was wondering. I heard about the Spencer thing where he blocked certain media outlets, right, from the press conference. Isn't that what happened?
CNN, New York Times,
Washington Post.
BuzzFeed,
And BuzzFeed, yeah.
well, the New York Times and CNN too.
Right. Okay. I have a few questions. One is BuzzFeed. I heard about that from NBC, and NBC was pointing out. I think it was NBC. I'm not sure. It might have been ABC, but they were pointing out that they're actually owned by the same affiliate. So he allowed one, and he blocked the other. But and they were protesting. They were both protesting over it.
Right. Several other
Yeah.
news outlets
Right.
refused to go to other
Right.
There.
Oh yeah.
meetings.
Nice to
Hi,
meet
I'm an
you.
outreach director with Indivisible.
Indivisible.
I figured
What is
you might
Indivisible?
like saving.
What is Indivisible?
Indivisible is a national grassroots nonpartisan coalition of Democrats, Independents, Republicans who are very alarmed with the direction our country's been going in. For instance, the First Amendment has become a
Right.
hot button issue, and that is horrifying to the members of Indivisible,
All right.
frankly.
I wanted to talk to someone because I had a few questions, and it doesn't really matter who I talk to. It doesn't have to be an official representative or anything. I'm not putting this in the media. This is it'd be a vlog maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. But so I might post it to the internet.
But it's better
not,
if it's someone who wants to be talking to you,
Of
not
course.
someone who's praying that you'll go away.
I understand
wasn't doing that, just so you know. I'll back you up.
Well, anyway, I had a question I was just saying. I heard about BuzzFeed being blocked, and I know BuzzFeed they were posting something about what's his name? His lawyer, right?
Yeah.
His lawyer was
Let me look up the name.
Donald Trump's lawyer.
Yeah, I gotta look up the name.
Oh, that's all right.
These old white dudes and their names. It's so hard to keep up.
No, man, you probably know better than I do. I don't even know. But anyway, the thing is, they blocked BuzzFeed, and they kept NBC, or I think it was NBC.
Yeah, they
Maybe
kept
it was,
NBC, they kept a lot of the other three
Right,
letters.
right.
But they blocked 9 organizations in total, including CNN, BBC, New York Times, LA
Right.
Times.
All right. Now I have some tough questions, but I don't want you to think that I'm opposed to
No,
your.
please, come at me.
I don't want you guys to think I'm opposed to this
Come
whole.
at me.
Like
I live for this.
First of all, I don't think what Spencer did was right, so I just want to.
That what?
Spencer or the Trump
Yeah.
or whoever's policy it
Yeah.
was to block people from the outlet.
Yeah.
But
Asking questions is healthy. That is why we're here.
All right.
Please.
all right. So question one, right? These things, I can't imagine they're ever fully open to the public
Yeah.
because if they were, there'd be too many people to show up, right?
I mean, you're never going to get. I could be wrong. Maybe in 50 years, society will change rapidly, and we'll have 100% transparent government. And I think it's hard to get to that 100% transparency.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Better than nothing, you're
yeah,
saying.
and the
But-
press has been the press. I think people forget the function of the press is not to entertain. The press is fighting for the public's right to know what is going on, so we can hold
Right.
our officials accountable.
Right. So
And make informed choices.
and make informed choices, exactly.
If you can handle that.
Can't have much of a democracy without free speech.
Exactly. It isn't a democracy
Yeah.
without a free press.
Right. Now, the question is though, if it was always exclusive, right? Isn't it just a shift? Like he's trying to get the upper hand over who's doing the exclusion, right? So he's doing the exclusion now, whereas before it was media elites doing the exclusion.
But see, here's the thing about that White House, how they banned, CNN, BBC, all of these reputable publications. You know who they kept on? Breitbart, or they brought in.
Yeah, they brought people. I understand.
But
I agree with that narrative that they're just basically picking their favorites.
But I mean, that's not even Breitbart. Are you familiar with Breitbart?
A little bit, yeah.
It's and I'm saying this, I mean, I'm not necessarily your typical progressive here. I read conservative publications and stuff. I have a lot of respect for certain conservative intellectual thinkers. But so, Breitbart is a propaganda machine, an absolutely neo-Nazi white supremacist It's insane.
Right.
They've got that guy on InfoWars talking about the frogs are gay now.
All right, but I mean, like,
And I think it's pretty flagrant. I think the White House is pretty obviously picking
Right.
anyone, regardless of whether or not it's a reputable news organization, as long as they're saying positive things about the administration.
well, certainly. I mean, if you were in Trump, you would pick the guys who friendly, leave out the guys who aren't so friendly, and then that gives you an extreme influence, and that's not democratic.
That has
At all.
not happened before in the history of the United States. There have always been journalists welcomed who were critical of whatever president was there.
All right, but here's the question.
There's never been.
If I show up as a vlogger and I don't have any press credentials or anything,
I
am
see
gonna-
what you're saying.
Am I going to be there, like?
Oh, yes, I see where you're going with this. And, okay.
I would have liked to heard what you said.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead and finish what you're going to say, because I find it fascinating.
Oh, I was saying, if I show up to a Washington D.C. press conference as a vlogger with no
As an
press credentials,
independent guy.
as an independent, not associated with CNN or NBC or BuzzFeed, anybody, are they going to let me in?
No, because you don't have press credentials. Yeah,
But,
people
okay,
are tied.
all right, but then,
They didn't keep out people who didn't have press credentials.
all right, go.
That is I see the dilemma
All right,
very, very, very much.
Right.
And I think, these kinds of questions, how do we support independent journalism?
all right.
If our current system of who has credentials is based on, if you belong to a mainstream huge news
Exactly.
outlet, especially considering all of them are owned by 3-4 different companies?
Exactly, and those
Yes.
companies are represented there. That's just they picked which affiliate do they want
Look into
to let in.
what the parent companies of NBC and all that are. So, oh, okay.
Yeah, NBC. I think NBC and BuzzFeed have the same
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
I don't even know precisely who's the owner.
I'm not going to pretend to know enough on the issue
Right.
to have a
That's all right, man.
satisfying answer.
I don't mind that. Like
But
nobody knows everything.
I
Right?
agree that this is something that people smarter than me, who are well read about the topic, there needs to be a solution, because I completely agree that we need to incentivize, quality, hard-hitting journalism, and you're not going to get that.
Because part of the reason I bring it up is because the press says, hey, look, we represent the people, and they're not elected, right? So,
and they're run by big money.
Exactly, and it's actually kind of an exclusive club there. So do they represent the people? You see, and if they don't, it's almost like, what are we standing on now? It's pulled out from under our feet, right? Because
we're standing on shaky ground, but
the whole
it's the best
complaint
we've got.
is that they represent the people, the public, right? Now, I did have some thinking, like, well, about solutions, like if it was a lottery or something like that, if it actually was fair, and who gets in, right? Because if it's not that, it's going to be someone who's making these decisions. And are they going to make those decisions fairly? And is it going to be representative of the people?
And you know what's even more horrifying to me? On a similar note, I was reading about the relationship between the press and the president. And the press pool over the past 50 or so years has gotten more and more isolated from the president. It used to be that these reporters, they knew the president. They felt like they knew what made the president tick. And I was reading this article, and I wish for the life of me I remembered what website it was on. These White House reporters complaining, people ask me what the president is like, and I don't know.
Right.
And so, that's the thing, that proximity,
right.
It almost is a little hollow. And so, I do not have a good answer for you, but it is something.
So, in terms of reforms, your group isn't asking for any particular reform?
No, right now we're focusing on the bare bones, we're not going in the weeds with this, you know what I mean?
You're not going in what? The weeds?
Yeah, in terms of this more wonky, the semantics of how the larger press industry is run
But it kind of goes towards credibility, right? Because if you don't go into actual solution that actually we do represent the people, if we're going to have something where it actually is free press, because if you're going to say it's a democratic issue, we have to have some. Somebody has to get into it.
My point of view is this: when we're out here, like we had a group of kids roll up. They're about my age, early mid-20s, and they were like going fishing or something. I had fishing poles in the car, and they called me over to ask what we were doing.
Right.
And these are young guys, all Latino kids. They're speaking Spanish to each other, and they had never heard of Indivisible. I said we were supporting the First Amendment.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What was the name of your organization again?
Indivisible.
Indivisible. Now, is Indivisible associated with some of these media outlets?
No, we are completely grassroots. So, I'm a
All right.
college
So
kid that's lived in Port Orange my whole life. I'm one of the outreach directors.
So how did you find out about Indivisible?
Well, Indivisible it started as a blanket term with, a guide was released about a year ago. I'm not quite as well versed on the history of the movement. He's like, I'm more of an ideas guy, not a facts guy, or not a timeline guy.
Right.
Well, that came out very bad.
I don't know if my mic's picking you up even.
Yeah, but for me, I'm about the concepts. And so, I don't know what year it was formed, what the name of the person who formed it was, but so the idea was to form a broad...
Well, I much prefer people say, hey, I don't know, than like give me a bunch of BS, you know what I mean?
Thank you. I'm trying to think, I'm more trying to deflect and give myself a moment to think of how to phrase it. Thank you for giving me permission to think.
Sure.
Because I'll sit and I'll stop talking because I'm thinking,
right.
And I hate the pressure.
No, it's no big deal, man.
Ask me again, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like down that way? Thanks.
All right. I don't even remember. Was there a question?
Oh yeah. Well, but so I was saying these kids and these young guys. I said we're here supporting the First Amendment.
Oh yes.
And their response was, "Okay, what's that mean?"
Right.
And
How old were they?
They looked to be early 20s, mid 20s.
Wow. Yeah.
And
okay.
I had to list off, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom to peacefully assemble, and freedom to petition the government to redress grievances. They had no idea. And I'm seeing these people's reactions. I saw like this mom and her kids, pointing out the window and the amusement. And when pedestrians come by and ask me, hey, what's up? This basic issue of the First Amendment being under attack, we're not even at the point where the public fully gets that yet. So I think we got to start with that first step.
At the same time, I think there might be some people in the public who are kind of cynical, and they're kind of going, well, I don't have that kind of megaphone.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get representation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, in terms of getting
and they might even think, hey, you know, maybe Trump's better. You know, like maybe it's better if Trump's the one with the megaphone, or Trump's the one who's controlling all the messages.
And you know, I think
and there is evidence, and it's been in the media, even it's been covered in books and so forth, that there's been a sort of coordination of message.
Yes.
So there's been propaganda, in other words.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are kind of like, they're aware of it. You know, they're aware that there's a bunch of propaganda, and and they're aware that it's not really like a grassroots thing where it's just a bunch of individual people. It's like they're aware that there's a coordinated message there, and to some extent that's a good thing to me. Like there should be coordinated. We need to care about issues, so there needs to be some coordination.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll level with you on our organization. We are a leaderless.
I like it above board, you know, transparent, whereas it's not always clear.
But I mean, like there's a group of about a dozen of us that runs the show in the area. There's 7 small local groups, and I'm part of like the umbrella indivisible group. It's really confusing and small, but it's equal. You know, everyone part of the leadership is equal, and there's no count. You know, there's no one above us.
All right, but I used to do indie media, and we had like a spokesmodel type meetings where we did spokes consensus or something like this. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's people meeting and making their. It's kind of the policy wonkish stage, but there's input from the people involved.
Yeah.
Right, and then it goes. They try to make it egalitarian. They try to make sure everybody involved in the organization is heard. Right. So, do you feel in your organization you have a say where people are listening to you?
We try.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing. We don't have. Since we are grassroots organizers, and a lot of us are new to this. Yeah. There's not, you know, this tight organization, and a lot of these questions you're asking, we've ourselves, as you know, people that have been leading this movement, have been among ourselves, been trying to figure this out. You know, we're figuring this out as we go along in a large part.
And I think that's always the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, but that's when you have a meeting or something. I was wondering, because I'm probably not going to be there, if you could bring up the issue that I raise about how to make this actually democratic, because what we had before.
Are you on Facebook?
No.
Okay, then I don't have a card on me. Otherwise, I'd give you my card.
I mean, to me, my idea is just to have some kind of lottery or something like that, where everybody in the public has an equal chance of getting represented there. Or
I mean, I would need to read on it before I commit to a stance, but that sounds fantastic.
Right.
That would be something that I would enthusiastically, if I read about it and it was the most, the best system, which on the surface it sounds pretty damn great.
Well, it sounds very democratic. Yes. I don't know if it's good because, you'll have, crazy people or whatever. I don't know. Who knows?
I like to think that with the public's short attention span, and also with lottery, I think. Right. I imagine this is the most I've talked about it right now, but I can imagine with my limited knowledge that working out. And that sounds good to me.
Because, I mean, I guess my point is, let's take this opportunity not to just return to the status quo.
But to fix things.
To do it better. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Right. I mean, because I do think this is worse than what we had before, but then again, I can also see the other side of the coin.
And I will admit, it's frustrating sometimes to talk about. There is a bit of a knowledge gap with the sense of that NBC's parent company is so and so.
Yes.
So there's also the knowledge gap, and I admit it does feel a little disingenuous for me being here.
when you bring up that issue, I mean.
Yeah, but I'm freaked the hell out.
Right.
So the way I look at it is we're putting a Band-Aid on now.
Basically, we have an undemocratic media, and it almost seems like we have a power struggle over that undemocratic media.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to make sure that we democratize it.
Yeah.
And not just shift power to one side or the other.
And frankly, I think it's a fascinating and is something that I would absolutely love to Because I agree with you wholeheartedly. We do need to find a way to democratize.
I have more ideas. Like, I mean, you've heard of basic income?
Yeah. Have I heard of basic income?
Right. Or actually, the fact that it's unconditional, though.
Yes.
Unconditional basic
Universal
income. UBI.
basic income.
Yes.
It's more fiscally conservative to do that. Tear down Social Security, tear down Medicare and Medicaid, and replace it with universal basic income and a universal healthcare system.
Well, the point of it, though, it being unconditional, is if we're working for an unconditional income, that's one string. Excuse me, I'm not lined up on your face. That's one string they don't have.
Yeah.
That's one string they don't have
Yes.
over us, right? So that's making things more democratic, really.
Yes.
That's a real free speech. If the journalists, even if they work for NBC, it wouldn't even matter if they have full independence, and NBC is not the one
We
paying
will
them.
not have true freedom until we have economic freedom.
Right.
And that means it's basic income, in my
Right.
opinion. I mean, a conservative intellectual since Nixon have been saying that. And that's kind of my personal, Indivisible, that's not an issue they're very much focused on. Indivisible is very much focused on, oh dear God, let's...
But we kind of have to.
Reactionary, but yes.
I mean, like you say, if we could keep going to these interim solutions that don't actually
I would
do
love
it.
to do a workshop or something,
Yeah.
or a series of workshops, even if we had, speakers and the time to get into and talk about as a group the media and how the groups that have their credentials, how they quote unquote, how they get their credentials, and how get people to think, well, it is really undemocratic that a small independent journalist who's interested in asking real questions,
Yeah. Now I can't. I have like here. You can point it at me, I guess. Here. I was gonna say. Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
All right. I was gonna say. Oh, yeah. They're giving a speech or something now.
Yeah, they're reading my eulogy. I wrote a eulogy for the First Amendment. Well, it's
All right. Well, I was gonna say. I get online, like maybe in a chat room or something. I put forth ideas, and then people are like, but I don't think they see the big picture, right, about the basic income. And the way I would set it up personally, and I'm open to like, okay, if there's something unworkable, I can change a detail, right? But one way we could set it up is if the income you use is like a voucher, and it just vanishes when you spend it, right? So it's like a digital currency that just disappears because like you have it tracked in a server or something. But it disappears, so you don't have a buildup of inequality at all, first of all. Second of all, the norm should be everybody's making that same income. So that basic income isn't just to fix the poor people, it's to be that is your income.
Yeah.
And then volunteerism is how we drive most of the economy. And where there isn't, we make special incentive programs, special exceptions where they get extra vouchers for filling in the gaps where volunteers are not doing those things. But we don't make that the norm of the entire economy, and we don't make that the norm for especially people in influential positions such as journalists.
Yeah.
Because it's counter to democracy to do so.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to. I just wanted to say my piece there, and I'll take.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. No. I mean.
Here, I'll turn this off. He doesn't have. I didn't know. I didn't hear about that angle.
No. But I mean, just that guy was screaming, "Obama's a criminal," blah blah blah.
Are the right-wing media saying Obama has something to do with this?
I don't know. The big thing. I was on Big John's radio show yesterday with a couple of other members, and we were asked if we were paid, because apparently conservative media thinks that George Soros guy is paying, and we're professional protesters.
Okay.
I've heard the name, but I don't know.
That's another reason why we need the egalitarian basic income, and so what? Like, here's the Trump.
We also
whatever they called. I don't know what you.
We also need some major
hits.
structural. We also need some major structural reform.
You'll get a job.
I think we need some major structural reforms to equalize, because we have a massive level of inequality in this country. 20 people in this country hold as much wealth as the bottom 50% of households. A universal basic income is not going to make that gap go away.
Right. Right. That's why I'm saying we need more.
Yeah.
We need. What I was saying is you have a temporary incentive program, but otherwise, Otherwise, people don't get paid for work, right? And we don't need either stocks and stuff like this, right? I mean, you have managers and so forth, or whatever. But and the people who have been volunteers for years, you know, they there would be social incentives as well as just the. I mean, I can't. I guess go into every detail of my little utopia.
What's
or
your
whatever.
name? Or here, do you have a number or a card or something?
I have nothing. You know, I don't even usually do this. I'm just starting out, I guess, or trying to.
Well, hey.
So, card.
I'm a big fan of. Do you have a YouTube channel? Or
That's
will
what
you?
I'm going to. I'm going to have a YouTube channel. I'm going that direction. Yeah. So, and it wasn't actually going to be about protests or anything like that. It was just I took advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's not even what I was going to be about mostly, but
Yeah.
you know. So, I was going to say, I wish people would not be too quick to say, "Oh no, that's impossible. Oh no, that'll never happen in this country."
Well, I mean,
because
when I say
you can,
it never will, I think currently I do think it never will. But me currently thinking something will never happen is different from definitively saying it'll never happen. You know, I'm open to that level of
right.
anything could happen. Good God, Trump's president.
Right. Well, so as I was saying, if we had, I wanted to say, because I forgot to say earlier that I wanted that incentive program term limited. Because I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea is they do their term for a limited amount of time, and then when their term's up, they can stay on and keep doing the job, but then they're working as a volunteer like everybody else, and they get the basic income, and that's their income, right?
Yeah.
And then over time, we develop, I think, a much more egalitarian culture and a much more egalitarian society, and there'll still be social incentives, like you might stay on and develop, because you've been doing it longer, you get prestige from that. You get, what is the word, status.
Yeah.
And, you know, you'll be the first in line for managerial positions and all this kinds of things, just like, you know, the typical, you know, workplace, really. But, the idea is to move towards, if we're going to be about democracy, right?
Yeah.
Like really getting rid of.
And that means economic liberation.
Right.
Yeah.
Economic liberation, but it also means like we'll have more trust in our media.
Yeah.
If there
Because
isn't,
we'll have
if there
economic
is no
liberation.
question of George Soros, there is no question of.
With economic liberation, everything comes else in the basket with it, basically. I think.
Right. All right.